Right where Sally Bassett was burned, ironically now, is a site where a very pleasant man, Johnny Barnes, every morning, Monday to Friday, waves and greets visitors. And he, in essence, reflects the complete opposite of what Sally Bassett, in essence, does. If you could, I want to show you a brief YouTube video of, this is Johnny Barnes. This is not the type of Johnny Barnes. He's a very nice guy. But the irony of Johnny Barnes next to Sally Bassett is quite striking. Yes. If you, yes, we can just pause it right there. Right behind Johnny Barnes is where Sally Bassett is burned alive. But every morning, visitors or commuters to the city pass the spot, probably with no connection to what the spot was historically for Bermuda. If you can show the other clip. This is a video posted by a tourist to Bermuda and what they got from Johnny Barnes.
When I was in Bermuda, I heard about a gentleman who gets up around 5 in the morning, walks 2 miles to the center of traffic, and stands there and blows kisses to everybody driving by. This is in downtown Bermuda. The man's name is Johnny Barnes. I was fascinated and I couldn't wait to go see him. I went one morning and there he was, smiling, wearing this big hat, his arms outstretched, his eyes bright. He radiated happiness. When I looked at him, I smiled. As we passed him, he was smiling right at us. And as we went around the corner, we saw the statue that Bermuda had made for him. And the statue did what Johnny Barnes does. It smiles and radiates love to everybody. I admire anybody who makes a difference in the world. But for this man to get up and do this for 15 years was amazing. I salute Johnny Barnes.
Now, why is this important? I think the words of a person who took the video are quite fitting. Happiness, but this is the exact same spot where Sally Bassett is burned alive. Now, there was some discussion of should her statue be right there? And the response was no, because that's where Johnny Barnes is. And this is extremely important for blacks in Bermuda, once again, to bring us back to a discussion of colonialism and how that affects an education system. Where historically, black Bermudians were not taught about slavery. There's no discussion. So there's no even benign myth doesn't even come up. There's no discussion at all. It's almost as if it did not happen. And Sally Bassett's story is much, much more important than just Sally Bassett in of itself. It also has ramifications for how we understand the connection between Bermuda, slavery, and this larger Atlantic community during the slave trade, the Atlantic slave trade, and also the connection between blacks in the West Indies, blacks in the United States, and this larger discussion of black sailors during this entire period. If I may return to the discussion of the actual incident itself. As stated, Sally Bassett used 2 main ingredients, or alleged she used 2 main ingredients. One is called white toad, one is called mechanil. She instructed her granddaughter to take this substance and make a powder, crush a powder out. One was to put in the food, one was to put on the door at the entrance to her master's doorway. So as they entered the bedroom, they would inhale the substance, and over time, they would die. So what we're seeing Sally Bassett using is a certain level of pharmacology. In this process, it's not a simple matter of just poison. There was a very specific fine instructions that were given. What gets more complex about this is that there was no white toad in Bermuda at the time of this case. So then where did she get these ingredients from? When we open up Sally Bassett's story, which is very difficult because there's only a very small space in the colonial records of Sally Bassett to catch the story. Most of it is centered around this court case. About 15 years before this trial took place, Sally Bassett was also convicted for her involvement in the death of some cattle of 2 other white proprietors she allegedly gave them a warning that on this particular day, something would happen. And on this particular day, the cattle of these owners died. She was also found to have relationships with a black male named Indian Tom. Indian Tom was known to be collaborating with French-speaking pirates and privateers. And let me explore this connection with Indian Tom. It looks as if, or the discussion that's now being generated is, was it possible that Sally Bassett was able to get these ingredients, which are very popular in use of West Africa and also in Haiti? The only place that white toad was found in the Americas was in Suriname and Haiti at the time, and also West Africa. Where would she get these ingredients from? Is there a larger connection to a wider network of black resistance? So Sally Bassett's piece is very, very important, particularly in the context where Bermuda's government is trying to use the African Diaspora Heritage Trail as a way to connect Bermuda's history with history outside of Bermuda. So what we're left with is many, many more questions than we actually have answers. There was one white commentator who, after seeing the monument, said that he did not feel that it uplifted him. He didn't feel uplifted. He felt like he was expecting something else. And it was quite very interesting because he also carries the same namesake of Denmark, Vesey. In Bermuda we say Vesey, which was very striking. I was curious as to how he would feel about the monument in Charleston. But he was reminded by many blacks that it wasn't really about, the creation of the monument wasn't about white guilt. And it seems like the discourse always gets carried back to this position. But we're in an era right now where a number of black scholars, black writers are trying to use the story, start to use the story of Sally Bassett and other enslaved black women in Bermuda, like Mary Prince, to reconstruct the story that, for many, feel is the birthright in a society where this history of blacks in Bermuda has historically been denounced, or I guess, repressed. And 3 minutes? Okay. And last but not least, back to this notion of sites of terror being relabeled. This runs the gamut from islands, small islands, where people go to swim. There's one major place called Gibbons Island. And this was used as a place to torture enslaved Africans. And there was one case in the 18th century where a conspiracy plot was discovered, and the heads of a number of Africans were severed and put on spikes on this island. And when you enter the island's main harbor, it's very, very visible. There are a number of sites like that, but in today's context in 2011, these are popular beaches. These are places where people go to swim without any recollection of the history of these places. So right now there's an interesting discourse about how do you give credence to an accurate history of those who suffered. At the same time, how do you somehow transform this into, an economic avenue for tourism? It's a very, very complicated process, and to me there seems to be no easy way around it. If you tell the truth, it's going to be discomforting. There's no way to get around it, and on a certain level you have to tell the truth. So this makes it complex because now, I said, this is a black government trying to recreate as best as possible these images of Sally Bassett and slavery. And I think I'll stop right there and look forward to some further dialogue and questions.